Math Module 2, Lesson 19. I can divide 2 and 3-digit dividends by multiples of 10 with single-digit quotients and make connections to a written method. That means we're going to actually solve the standard algorithm. So make sure everything I do in the video you're doing in your workbook. No skipping steps. If you need to pause to catch up, do it. If you need to rewind because you're lost, you better rewind. Good luck! 70 divided by 30. So we are going to estimate first, then solve, then check. So let's break this area up into 3. So estimate, solve, and check. With estimation, we always start with what we have. So we have 70 divided by 30. All right, so 7 divided by 3 I can't do. So what close to 7 is divisible by 3? 6. So 60 divided by 30. Notice they both have zeros in it, so I can cancel them out. So what's 6 divided by 3? Oops, I forgot to put the about. Because it's an estimate, it's about. So 60 divided by 30, or 6 divided by 3, well, that's about 2. So now, let's actually do the solving. So I'm going to put 70 in my dividend, 30 in the divisor. So 30 can't fit into 7, so we're going to make a placeholder, that X. So now we got to think how many 30s fit into 70. So I'm going to go with my estimate of 2. 2 times 30 is 60. Subtract 0, 1. All right, so it must be 2 remainder 10. So is 2 remainder 10 close to my estimate of 2? Absolutely. So now let's check our work. So we always start with our divisor of 30 times our quotient of 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 3 is 6. So then I take my product I just got, which was 60, and add my remainder. 0, 6 plus 1 is 7. So let's check. Does my sum that I just got of 70 match my dividend? Absolutely. So that tells me my work is correct. Make sure you showed everything. Make sure that R in remainder is capitalized too. For 430 divided by 60, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to estimate, solve, then check. So we're going to break this up into 3 spots. So estimate, solve, check. When we estimate, we always start with what we know. So we know 430 divided by 60. So I need to think, what is close to 43 that's divisible by 6? 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. And 6 times 8 is 48. So 42 is about the same, and I bring down the 0. And I need to write about because this is an estimate. So 420 divided by 60. All right, so because I have a 0 in my divisor and my dividend, I can cancel them. So 42 divided by 6 is about 7. So that's what I'm hoping my actual quotient is near. So now we're going to actually divide. So we start with what we know. We have a dividend of 430. We have a divisor of 60. So how many 60s can fit into 4? Guess what? None. 4 is way too tiny. How many 60s can fit into 43? 60 is still too big. So how many 60s can fit into 430? Truthfully, I don't know. So let's go with our estimate. Let's try 7. So 7 times 6 is 42, and then I bring over the 0. Let's subtract. 0. 3 minus 2 is 1, and then 0. So 7 remainder 10. Yes, that R is capitalized. So is 7 remainder 10 close to my estimate of 7? Absolutely. So now let's check our work with multiplication. So we always start with our divisor multiplied by our quotient. So 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 6 is 42. So now I take my product and I add my remainder, which was 10. Lining up those 1s and those 10s. So 0, 3, 4. So let's check. Does my final sum here, 430, match my dividend? Absolutely. So guess what? We know we did the work right. Make sure you showed all of it. So 572 divided by 90, we're doing the same thing. We're going to break this up into 3 sections for estimate, solve, check. Estimate, solve, check. For estimating, we always start with what we know, which is 572 divided by 90. So I'm just going to pay attention to the first 2 digits. What near 57 is divisible by 9? So 9 times 5 is 45, 9 times 6 is 54, 9 times 7 is 63. So 54 was the closest. So I'm going to put about 540, because I still need to put something in place of that too, divided by 90. So we have a 0 in each, so we can cancel them. So what's 54 divided by 9? Well, it's about 6. So now we're going to solve the real thing. So I put 572 in the dividend. I have 90 in my divisor. So how many 90s can fit into 5? None. 90's way too big. How many 90s can fit into 57? Or what's 57 divided by 90? 90 is still way too big. So how many 90s can fit into 572? Or 572 divided by 90 is another way to say it. Well, I'm going to use my estimate. I'm going to say 6, because I really don't know. So 6 times 9 is 54, and then I add my 0. I'm going to subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3, and that's 0. So 6, remainder 32. And the remainder must be right because it's less than my divisor of 90, so that's a positive. So notice that my actual answer is pretty close to my estimate. 6 of my estimate and my actual answer being a quotient of 6 with remainder 32. Let's check it. So I always start with my divisor multiplied by my quotient, which was 6. 6 times 0 is, 0. I almost said 6. 6 times 9 is 540. So now I can't forget my remainder, so I start with 540, and I add remainder 32. 2 plus 0 is 2, 4 plus 3 is 7, and then bring down the 5. So my sum here is equal to my dividend, which is exactly what we want. Make sure you showed all your work.